Hey everyone, welcome to my channel, Books, Squares, and Purrs. My name's Leslie, and I do not know what I'm doing. This is the first time I'm going live, and so I don't know if it's actually how this is gonna go. I just got StreamYard. Um, my place is an absolute mess, and so yeah, I just thought I'd do this. It's the last day of the year. Um, and I went out earlier today, totally regretted it. And so now I'm home. I just want to relax, and I have my champorado, and I just want to get projects ready that are coming up. And so, if you happen to be in tonight and would just like to join me, here I am. So I don't know how to. I guess I have no clue what I'm doing. So this has to be the night. So I'll show you what I'm gonna be doing tonight. I used Clockwork Reader's book journal this past year, and this has to be about the best journal I've come across. But I, for instance, will have more notes that I need to put. So I found myself chopping up like pieces of paper because I felt like just one little section wasn't enough, because each section is like a 2-page or full spreadsheet, I guess you could say. And when I really like a book, I just feel very passionate and I have a lot of notes. And so although I really like this format, I mean, it's been really lovely using this all year long. Any other time I've gotten a journal, I barely use it, and then I put it down because it doesn't really fit my need. And so I thought that I have potentially 3 different projects that are going on this year. So I got, what is it, moleskin? I just treat myself out. I wouldn't usually buy this, but I have 3. So one is going to be for my shelf by shelf project, because this year I'm going to focus on all my smaller shelves. So like I have a small shelf down here, one up here, that's pure chaos, and I think there's 2 in my living room. So I'm going to be basically just using those. And what else? Oh yeah, so I have the shelf by shelf, and then a friend of mine have a romance book club that we're starting. So I just want to have like a separate journal for my book notes, and then I do potentially have another book project in the works. And so I just need separate journals for those. I just need to feel less chaotic, but because these are basically blank pages, I just want to, my goodness, stuff is falling out, draft on like a separate paper how I'm going to want this formatted, because that's the thing. Because I'm getting blank pages, I'm going to have to do all the format work for myself, which I'm fine. It's my fault. I'm too detail-oriented, too picky, and I just need something that works for me. So that's basically where we're at. And since we're ending the year, I did pick up The Heaven and Earth Grocery Store by Jane Smith Bride, but I ended up not really picking this up because it's the end of the year and I just had too much to tackle. And but the bookstore person there told me that she just sat down and she read it in one reading because it was so good. So that's why I grabbed it. And so I'm just gonna have to let that go. But that's what happened was when I try to read too much in a year that I can't really handle. And then today I went out with my daughter. There's a coffee shop we wanted to go to, but they had auto hours because it's New Year's Eve, which is fine. So I stopped by the bookstore that's basically connected to it, and I picked up A Massacre in Mexico by Annabel Hernandez. I saw this at that bookshop before, and it's been a month or 2, and so I went back and it was still on the shelf, so I want to read this. And it's going to be up on the shelf up here because I mostly have books about Mexico, I think. Yeah, I think they're all about Mexico up there. And then I also picked up Grieving Dispatches from a Wounded Country by Christina Rivera Garza, translated by Sarah Booker. And I cracked this open today and it was really, really good. So I had to stop myself because I actually just want to, yeah, keep everything separated and up there. And because that shelf up there is focused on Mexico, or all my books that are focused on Mexico, I'm going to want to try to read them chronologically, like time-wise, uh, per the narrative. So we'll see how that goes. I don't know. So yeah. So I'm going to have to grab the first book that I want to read next year. And what I didn't finish back here, I have The Wretched Earth. I've been dying to read that, and I picked it up for a hot second and then put it back down because of, again, deadlines. And so I think the first book of the year should be a smaller one, and then I'll work to that one. I think that's how I'm going to do it. But that book's been calling me for ages. So yeah, but yeah, I want to draft it first, and I'm just gonna like write in which book just yet. I think maybe I'll do that tonight. But I really just need to capture like the formatting. And my laptop is on my printer because my printer is on a little filing cabinet with rollers. So, and with that, I have no clue. How do I tell on this if I'm just talking to myself? And then also, I don't know how to like add my pin photo. That's another thing. Oh, it's just me. That's fine. Okay, I just added my pin photo. So select the playlist. I'm gonna do a new playlist, everyone, and I'll call it Late Night. So over time, I'll get a hang of this, but here we are. Should I do a hashtag? Should I do hashtag? Hashtag. All right, and lastly, I just want to see, how do I know if the sound is okay? I'm going to do this on my cell phone. Hello? 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 Well, that works. This is what's great about doing this late night when everybody's partying. It's because I have time to play around with this because I don't know what I'm doing. All right, I'm gonna do one more thing before I start, and that is I'll share this. It says one person is watching. That's me because I'm trying to figure this out. All right. All right, everyone. Hopefully that worked out. So, um, I've never shared a screen. You know, sometimes I see people do sprints and they'll like, what if I just want to show you like, what kind of music should we listen to? I don't know if this is gonna work because I've never done this before. Um, There's the Game of Thrones chill music, 3 hours. I don't know if this is any good. And there's also Winterfell. Should I share a screen? Oh, it won't let me. Oh, I can't figure it out yet. All right. Well, it's 10 o'clock. So how about we'll do this for like 30 minutes? 30 minutes. So it's 10:01 now, so till 10:30. And then I don't know, somehow I'll figure out how to share music at some point. All right, everyone. We made it to 10:30. Let me see. You know what I noticed? There's like a lot of noise, huh? Hmm. If there's mic noise, I don't know how to make the mic more noise stop. But reduce mic background noise. And so hopefully that will help. But we'll see. All right, so I'll just discuss well, I'm learning how to use StreamYard. Oh, also, I think I mentioned before, I'm also learning how to use StreamYard because a friend and I are gonna make, or we're making like a book club, and we're gonna talk about romance. We haven't scheduled what date we're gonna do this. It's all gonna be like kind of last minute, just to kick it off, and then we'll do better about scheduling. Um, but I don't know how to use StreamYard, and this entire month I wanted to carve out time to learn, and there was just so much stuff going on that I just didn't get a chance to watch the tutorials that I wanted to. So yeah, as you can tell, I'm definitely still learning. And so let's discuss what I like about this journal. I like how do I explain this? I use this, I forget what it's called. I have stuff everywhere. Pulley print. I have pulley print. I really like this. But I feel like if I use pulley print, there's no reason for me to write like the name of the author and the name of the book. What is these? Sorry, I was trying to stop sneezing. Also, this writes how many pages are in a book. I don't really pay attention to that. And on top of that, while I'm journaling, I also use Storygraph, and Storygraph keeps track of how many pages I'm reading. It's not like an important goal to me. It's nice to see, but it really is no biggie. So there are other things like date started. I'm actually, that's something else I don't really focus on. I did write it, but at some point I would just write October TBR because that was like my agenda, and that's just how I wrote it. I didn't really care like what day it was. So I like all these like little quick summaries of things. Like I like um, whether what format was there, what was the narrator or whose narrator's name, the genre, who this is recommended by. I like that, but I'm not always going to use that. Um, so I'm not sure if I'm going to include it in what I'm doing. Favorite quotes is nice, but I don't always write it. Sometimes, I mean, it'll be blank because I'll mark it in my book a certain way. But as I start to switch to more library reads, I might use that more. Or I wish I could give you an example. Sometimes I just write the page number of where I want to pull the quote from, so that when I'm making videos, I could reference that. But yeah, that's it. Where were you when you read this? I mean, that's cute, but I don't want to write down every time because I'm on my couch. There's not many other places I'm going to be. Um, and then there's a section for our most memorable scene, but that also doesn't always work for me. Like usually when I'm pulling a quote, I'm discussing whatever was memorable to me, or I definitely try to pick a quote from a book, not just something that stood out to me, but something that encapsulates really what the author was saying. So yeah, that doesn't really work for me. Would I recommend this book? Yeah, I'm definitely gonna wanna. I kind of say yay or nay on the books, anyways. Um, what did I learn from this book? I'm gonna kind of when I break down each chapter, I kind of talk about that in a way, anyway. So I don't know. It's some of these prompts. They're nice. They're helpful, but over this past year, I just found myself uh, using them less. Especially, it depends on how passionate I feel about a book. Like clearly, when I read James Baldwin, I just like his book so much. So the Intelligent Giovanni's Room, and recommended. I put none. So it's not always like helpful for me. I don't know. Anyways, so with that said, you can just tell how nice it was early on, and me trying to figure out what I'm gonna do, and then later on, I would just like skip things that weren't working for me. Like A Little Devil in America, I love that book because I just anything by Henny, as you know, he's my literary crush. So, anyways, so I looked at that and I tried to figure out what worked for me. Sorry, fix. I'm sitting. And so I put like I'll show you an example. Like so I have my name is Romero. The author's name's already on there. So on the side I just put publisher, date, genre, format, narrator. Narrator's not always gonna be there, but just for this first one, I just want to kind of remind myself of what's going to be like the standard. And then I put rating, and I'm going to just give myself room to figure out what I want to do there. And then I am going to have a synopsis, a section about the author, a section for quotes, recommendation, yes or no, and why. And so synopsis is going to have like 4 lines. About the author, I'll probably put like 3 lines. Quote 3 lines. Recommendation, probably 3 lines. And then just on this for the first one, I'm just going to write down the tenets of fiction, which doesn't completely apply to nonfiction. Nonfiction is more like making sure that the material is rooted in reality. How is that displayed? And then I'm just going to have like a chapter breakdown. This first book I'm reading. I think it's almost like a memoir, but told through poetry, which I've read material like that before, and I've liked that choice, even though I'm not big on poetry. But when someone kind of uses it as a way to talk about, I don't know if that makes any sense because all poetry is someone talking about their life. But there's something about the merging of memoir and poetry that really works for me. And why am I bringing this up? I already forgot. So maybe some of the elements might not work for poetry. I'm not sure. But basically, I'm just gonna like have a breakdown. Maybe each poem, I don't know, it's gonna be different because I was thinking about this in terms of chapters. And then I want to think about theme, plot, setting, characters, the point of view, the style, um, and also since it's like nonfiction about the place it's rooted in. Um, but yeah, I just need more room, unfortunately, to break down my chapter thoughts, and so that's the only thing that kind of like really wasn't working for me in this. But I do love this. I would have to say this book still has way more room um, to write information in a way that would help someone that is an avid reader over a lot of the other formats I've seen out there. So let me see. I'm gonna try to figure this out. Yay, 10:39. Margaret's here. I don't know how this works. Can you tell that I don't know what I'm doing, Margaret? I put a star. I'm on, what do you call it, StreamYard? I blame you. Well, thank you. I'm trying to teach myself StreamYard. I know you, I think you did. I didn't have a chance to watch it because I think it was like during my working hours. But I'm pretty sure you probably have a playlist of like how to use StreamYard. That I'm at this point in January, I'm gonna have to watch. Um, just watch Barbie for the second time. You're so funny. Happy New Year. um, you know what? Let me know what you think about Barbie because I did like it. It was entertaining, but I think that there is just so much hype behind Barbie that I set myself up to be like a little disappointed. So it wasn't the movie that was a disappointment. I enjoyed myself. Like the movie did what it was supposed to do. I enjoyed myself, but I don't know. I think in terms of the conversations that the movie was having, there are other movies that I felt like uh, have made more like impactful, complex conversations about that, about patriarchy, and but also like the pressures on like men and women to play those roles. But also, I don't know. It's definitely a movie for like the younger generation because the movie I'm thinking of is, none of these young kids are gonna watch it. I was thinking of Splendor in the Grass. I don't know if you've ever seen that. Let me read the comments. Mad World. You see when I click on these things, will it then show up? I don't know how this works. Oh, okay. I'm gonna click on it, guys. I did it. I did it, Margaret. Just watch Barbie the second time. Okay, now I'm learning. All right. If anybody doesn't know anything about StreamYard, I'll link Margaret's playlist or some later. I'll figure it out. I feel like I'm taking baby steps. This is so funny. Happy New Year, Mad World, 1962. It was really funny, but there was a lot of pairings that were weird, which leaves one feeling. Is this how is John feels about X? Which is probably the point. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for the encouragement. I'm telling you, I'm like, it's a crash course for me, but I figured if I don't do it now, it's not gonna happen. Oh, thank you, Mad World. That really warms my heart. Because I just make these segments and I just feel like they just go out into the abyss. And I don't know if I'm doing any good or not. So I appreciate the encouragement. Back to Barbie. Yes, Happy New Year. All right. It's so funny. This is my first time doing this, so I'm just cracking up. Um, I guess since the Barbie movie, I just felt like, okay, I'm gonna say it. So, Splendor in the Grass. I think it takes place in the 1930s. I think it's a setting. I could be wrong. And it was like Warren Beatty's like first movie that he ever did. I think. Hopefully, I'm not messing that up. Um, but I felt like there were just like nuanced conversations about like gender roles, um, and the pressures and expectations of parents, but also how all that stuff gets passed down, father to son, mother to daughter, and then how that affects everyone's relationships through the generations. But then in Barbie, which by the way I loved, and I know it's wild and zany, and it's just like so over the top that I felt like, well, if you have a movie that's that over the top, so that I guess maybe the director writer thought that's a way to have like um, those kinds of conversations about patriarchy. I felt like it was an opportunity to if you're gonna go there, they can make subtle nods to like, well, how far does like how do you say it, like female solidarity go? Because there was more like representation in terms of people of color, but it's like there are nuances and limitations to that, right? Because that's just how our crazy world works. And we never saw that. There was more representation clearly than a movie like Splendor in the Grass, which is like super old. Um, and yeah, I just didn't really they just didn't really take that leap, you know? I don't know. It's so good. I'll tell you more. But I will warn you, I think it's like 3 hours. And one time I did like this, I made the bad decision of I don't have a Kindle now, but back in the day when I had a Kindle, I had to take a flight, I think to see my sister at a state. And so I put the movie, I like downloaded the movie to watch it from my Kindle. And here I am, and I had this couple right next to me, and I was just like quietly crying. It was so embarrassing, but I love that movie. I mean, absolutely love it. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you. Let's see, 1961. And then after watching Barbie, I'm like, all right, kids, watch this 1961 film. That's what I kept thinking about. Oh goodness, but I don't know how that's gonna go. Yeah, Happy New Year, everyone. All right, I'll stop. I'll stop. All right, so I'm working on figuring out how to journal this year to kind of like regroup all my thoughts about the books I read and just to like hopefully create better videos because I do kind of talk in a circle. Maybe let me get this other one before I keep talking. Yeah. Also, okay. Let me talk. Let me bring that up. I still feel like, yeah, reversing patriarchy. I kind of felt like because Barbie Land is still, I guess you could say, run by women, but it's still patriarchy, right? And so I think that's why she flipped it because I think maybe she thought, oh, this is a great way to talk about patriarchy because this system is still patriarchy, right? It's not really a matriarchy. But then also, spoiler alert, Mad World, if you haven't watched Barbie, towards the end when they talk about reinstating their constitution, it's just the same thing. Like they just reinstated the same thing. So I thought, couldn't they have said, yeah, we're going to reinstate this constitution, but also uh, make an amendment that has to do with the Kens, since they're not feeling Ken enough? Is it crazy that this is the way I think after watching that movie? I started deep diving into it. Hub, hub. You think I know what I'm doing? I gotta rejoin the group, but we'll go back. All right, cool. All right. How do I? Okay, okay. I'll stop. I'm just gonna keep going. All right. So, oh my gosh, it's 10:49. 10:49. So I'm going to do another. I'm doing basically half an hour sprint, so that's okay. And I'm drinking chaparrado with coffee in it. So that's where I'm at. All right, starting now. So if it's about, let's go to 11:20. All right, good to know. Thank you. It's when, oh, well, then really happy New Year to you then. It has happened for you. You're in the future. Still lagging behind. And oh, by the way, I guess maybe I'll mute it during like the sprint time, but their area that I live in, not only do they do fireworks, but they do illegal, what do you call it, like the M80s. So if it gets very loud, I'm sorry. I will mute during the sprint because it gets crazy. Ontario, oh how nice. Look at us. Living in the future, connecting, even though we're far away. That's lovely. All right, all right. So we'll go to 20. It's 50 now, so to 20. Then we'll start sprinting. Uh, oh, can I spell? At 20. All right. I'll put myself on mute. Hey everyone, I'm back. Give me 1 second. Let's see something. All right. So that was that section of a sprint. If you're here, feel free to say what you're up to, what you're doing tonight in the new year. If you're working on a book project, writing, reading, whatever your productivity subject is. But if you're just chilling and doing nothing, that also sounds lovely. You're just up. That's nice. Hopefully you can hear me okay. All right. I'll show you what I did so far. So I finished one of these. I'm going to do two. One of them I'm not going to do tonight. I'm not sure what's going on with that project this yet. But I'll Mad World, thank you for chiming in. Good to know. As long as you're up with me doing something, I'm here for it. All right. So it doesn't seem like I got far, but I am still really glad that I'm like figuring out the structure of this. I wrote this in pen, and then my next one for our next sprint, I'm going to have like a label maker, and I'll try a label maker and see like what the difference is. And see which one I like more as I go along. So I did about the author, synopsis, quote, ratings, publisher, publisher's date, genre, format, narrator, why this is recommended, why or why not. So some of those elements are what I took from Clockwork Reader that worked for me, that are just going to be relevant all the way through the year. And then I have tenets of fiction listed. It's only going to be on this first page, just as a little reminder of just what I want in my mind as I go along. That's theme, plot, setting, character, point of view, style. And then the big difference between the book that I was using in this is the next section, which is chapter or segment notes. It just depends. Like I'm doing poetry, so it's not really going to be chapter by chapter. It's going to be like a section and then the poems. And then I'll list like the section name, and then I'll list the poetry titles. And then over here, I'll be writing my notes on it, all my thoughts. And what's great about now having blank pages is I could just go on and on until I'm done. As I said before, when I was doing this, I had to like take the time to cut up paper to just add like additional notes that work for me. And then, depending on what I'm reading, if I'm reading something by Aniva Durkee, I love his work so much. So I just have a lot to say because his work packs such a punch. And if I just have this one little section, I'm not going to know how much room I'm going to need. I wish I had a better example for you. Sometimes this one took way more. So that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah. Or some of them, I added too many additional little section papers. I thought I was going to have a lot to say. But then I liked the book so much, I just sped through the book and didn't write as much notes as I should have, which is like a big no-no for me. Yeah, I guess I could use The Fire Next Time. The Fire Next Time is such a short book, but I have like all of that. And then again, I didn't know how much I was going to write, so I didn't end up writing on there. So that's where I'm at. Oh, Rushi's work. Yeah, 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 yeah. How did you hear about that work, if you don't mind me asking? And while you're responding to that, I'm going to step away just for a second because I want to go ahead and grab my label maker before our next sprinting time. I think that's a good put this aside. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Hopefully, you can hear me okay. Oh, good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. And don't you love a good read? It's really weird. Sometimes I'll have um, a book with like a short amount of pages, and it's painful. It's painful to get through, but I'm not into it. But then, I can have like some gargantuan book, but it's not really about the volume, how many pages. It's just like if you really lock into material. And when you do, that's it. It's full steam ahead. I just recently read, what was it called? The Vampires Suicide Hotline. I'm going to tell you what it is right now. I'm going to mess up the name. The Oh, you know what it was? It was Gideon Vampire Hotline. It's a fictional book I read, and it's called The Vampire Gideon's Suicide Hotline and Halfway House for Orphan Girl. And it was by Andrew Katz. It was so good. It was so funny. It was like, it had a very dark sense of humor. And it's basically like about this, well, vampire that he has like this unlicensed hotline to help out people that are you know really at the end of their rope. And but he has like this friendship, this parasocial friendship rapport with these people that call in. And even though it's like dark material, it's really, really funny. And it's kind of about like someone that lives that long. Are you really living? You know, like what choices are you making? Are they the right choices? It was really good. Let's see. I'm glad I found your channel, by the way. I'll definitely be watching all your videos. I'm not always a fan of book hauls as such, but I'll still watch them. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet of you. Yeah, you know what? It's so funny that you say that because this year is definitely gonna be different. But the thing is, you know what I noticed? Not that I was doing them because of this reason, but I did notice that when I looked at in terms of like how many people watch what video, it seems like book hauls, people really like watching those. And I do get the idea behind that because um, it's a quick way just to kind of see what's out there as a viewer. I'm guilty of that. Jen Campbell, who's an author, poet, she writes children's books too. Um, she does book hauls, and it's a way to kind of get like a palate cleanser. But I get a taste of what she's into, what's out there, like quick synopsis, right? To see if there's anything I'm interested in. But I'm really not going to be doing hauls next year because I'm mostly going to be focused on what I have on my shelves. I did this year, but I'm really going to be like pulling back and not really buying books so much. That's why I actually went to the bookstore today. There's a couple more I wanted for a project, and I just didn't want to forget. Anyways, so I'm going off on a tangent. Um, so yeah, I don't think I'm really going to be doing book hauls. I don't think I'm going to be doing TBR videos. Basically, whatever project I'm currently working on, I just like took a photo and put it in my community tab. And then beyond that, I'm just going to be making videos like per book. And I don't even know if I'm going to be doing wrap ups. I don't know if that really makes sense. It just feels like a bit redundant. And I think I felt the pressure of time trying to read so many books a month. And then in addition, doing a wrap up. And so what I was trying to do differently for 2023 was I was trying to do wrap ups that also include me talking about um, the author, their life, and kind of like focusing on the arc of their work. But like in the middle of the year, I got burnt out, and then so I wasn't really living up to my expectation of even doing that, really talking about the author. So that's why in 2023, each month I focused mostly like on one particular author and reading their work so that you as a viewer get a taste of like what that author um, wants to focus on, right? Because ultimately, someone could write so many different like volumes of books, but it's basically like what themes am I noticing, right? As a reader, what's important to the author that they want to discuss, basically. Yeah, I'm telling you, it was. I mean, I zipped through it. I'm really surprised because it wasn't even a book I was supposed to read this year, and then I can't remember. I think someone like shared on Instagram that they're reading it, and it just like piqued my interest. And it's not even something I'd usually pick up, but it was so good. Yeah, definitely. Hold on. I'm all sitting awkward right here. Um, I have a small space, but yeah, I maybe that is the thing I should be doing. I should look about at the fact that that's what people are watching the most, but it doesn't really appeal to me that much. It's fun, but again, there's only like so much time I have, and like, oh, here we go with the fireworks. I kind of lose sight of like my goals and what I was trying to do in the first place, and then I feel like I'm not really doing um, a quality job. It just feels like I was just doing quantity in terms of keeping on top of schedule and making sure I had those videos out. So it didn't really work for me. You know what? I don't think I am. I don't think I'm a fast reader. I think I read slow, but I will really get consumed with a book. And also, I'm not really an extrovert. Extrovert. I don't really like to go out. Exhibit A. My daughter and I, we both love to read, but I just thought it's the last day of the year, so we went out to run some errands, and we were so glad to be home. When we got home, I made some chaparrado, and what was she doing? She's reading a book right now. I'm doing this, and so yeah, that's like my one of the few hobbies that I really enjoy, which is reading and crocheting. So I don't think I necessarily read quickly, but I do spend a lot of my time being consumed with reading, if that makes any sense. Um, I wish I could read faster, you know. Some of these booktubers, they really fly through books. Um, Something that's really helped me with my comprehension and like the pace in which I read is if um, I want to say the library. You know, there's the Libby app and there's another app. I'll tell you right now because I already forgot the name. So I'm trying to think of it. I have it on my phone. There's Libby app and then there's Hoopla, Hoopla. Those are both apps that I have on my phone that you can connect to your library card. And I will borrow the audiobooks um, along with the book that I'm already have on my shelf that I'm reading. And that just helps with like uh, focus when I block my time at night just um, to read. That really helps out. But sometimes that doesn't work out. Sometimes it's detrimental because I might not like the narrator's voice. Let me know what you think about that because there have been some times, especially with female narrators, where they will have like this tonal shift in their voice, which is fine for if they're portraying a male or female characters. But sometimes it does not work out when they're not good at it because then they'll talk like this just to be like the male voice. And it's so funny that I can't do it. I'm just like, I am not listening to an audiobook. But it's gonna be like that the whole time. So it depends. Or sometimes it feels like some of the narrators for the audiobooks are like overacting. And I don't really need that. I just need like slight tonal shift just to tell a different character's talking. I mean, I am still reading along with the book, so I can figure it out. But so it could be helpful or sometimes hurtful. I just have to kind of figure out book to book. Mm, I, a friend has this issue. You're not the only one. So if that doesn't work for you, that's fine. I get it. Yeah, but that's okay. I'll say this. I cannot do audio on its own because I will also have a concentration issue. But if I have both, I can. So it's more about trying to get through a book and focus with the audio. Like it's like when I block my time, I'm like, this is all I'm doing. So I have the book, I have the audio, and I'm just looking at it. But if I just do audio, I have the same issue. I won't be able to concentrate. I tried one, and the acting was so overwrought, it drove me crazy. Yeah, that's definitely happened to me. I wish I could give you an example of a book, but I don't want to rag on anyone. But I've definitely had that issue. Or I read a cozy read, and I want to say I think it was in October. I can't think of the name of the book. That's neither here nor there. There's a teenage character in the book, and it's a twofold thing. One, I didn't like how the author wrote about the teenage character. It seemed very stereotypical. Like, sudden, I don't like when authors portray kids or teens like as if they're these whiny human beings, and there's like no nuance. And so that was an issue I had with the book that I read. But on top of it, um, the narrator really brought their whiny game when portraying that character, and it made it so much worse. It was so hard to read. So yeah, that's like a great example of the acting also hurting the particular work. But that's also more of a reflection of like of the character that the um, author crafted that I just thought was very two dimensional and um, yeah, doesn't give the kids enough credit. Yeah, yeah, I can't. Yeah, audiobook on its own. I've tried to do that while doing domestic tasks like cleaning my apartment or whatever, and it doesn't work out. I get so distracted, my mind starts wandering. But yeah, it's 11:41. I'll go to 20 again, I guess. All right, so we'll sprint till 20. We'll do that. All right, enjoy. I'll put myself on mute. Here we go. Happy New Year again. It's 12:21 over here. Yeah. You know how I know is that the fireworks are so loud right now. It's not that bad right now, but um, when should I start this? I'd have to say a month, like in June. So before we have our Fourth of July. The illegal fireworks go off like crazy, and it's just sporadic throughout the year. So there's fireworks going off right now, and I think in the state of California, I don't think they allow fireworks to the public, only at events when it's not Fourth of July. But that doesn't stop anybody around here. Like I want to say a couple of weeks ago, um, there was one that was so loud. I forgot if I said this earlier. It sounded like a bomb, to be honest, and my whole apartment shook, and I got down on the ground because I thought something wild was going on. But it was just illegal fireworks. That's what I chalk it up to. So it gets really wild around here. Oh yeah, that's happening here too, more and more with people setting off their own. You know. So yeah, I feel your pain there. Oh my cats. Um, as long as I keep the doors closed, they're okay. That one incident where my whole apartment shook, they got scared and they they hid under the couch. But so far so good. You know, I just have to be more thoughtful and make sure windows closed, doors closed, that kind of thing. So I did try. I went very naively when they were younger, when they were kittens, to take them outside to look at the fireworks. Not the when it was big and booming or anything, but like during Fourth of July. And my cat did not like that. My cats don't like being outside. It's really funny. I thought they would want to be in the outside world. My cat Ginger will start meowing, but I guess like more like crying, and I can't. Why am I even reenacting it? Like she wants to go inside. She is so unhappy. So um, I learned early on, but they don't like it. What about you? Do you have any pets? How do they react? A cockatiel. That's so cool. Are they rambunctious cats or are they chill? Because mine are going to be, let me see, they're going to be 5 in February. And they've kind of wound down a little bit because when they're kittens, they're wild. But for the most part, they're just adorable and use me like a couch all the time. Mm, I'm sorry to hear that. Ugh, that's rough. That's rough. But as long as they have you, that's great. Is it Hellion? Yeah. You see, mine. Okay, Ginger. She's like the chonkers one, and she's also longer. She seems really sweet and docile, and she is for the most part. But she has like a sneaky, nosy personality. She always wants to look at the window and she'll stare at whoever's passing by. And she definitely will like pick fights with her sister out of nowhere. So there's that. She really likes to punk my other cat. But my other cat is just gets zoomies quite a bit and also gets scared easily. So my other cat, Tariel, is more of an issue. Uh, always try to keep things real calm over her. And they keep me entertained, so what can I say? Well, oh, okay. Let's chat about what we did. Let me know what you did for your sprinting time as it continued, and I'll talk about mine. All right. So the second book I need because a friend of mine are gonna have a book club next year. It's just for fun. My friend's not even on BookTube, so I have like our they call it our pin photos ready. We have like an idea of what we're gonna do for the first episode. What was I gonna tell you? We haven't ironed out what date. It's like a couple of other things that we have to like iron out. It might be an impromptu show just for the first one. So just because we're trying to after that we'll try to have a schedule. Anyways, long story short, it's called Not Another Romance Book Club because I don't like romance. My friend is just doing this because I want to do this with someone and we have good chemistry together. Um, and because I don't like, not that I don't like it, I think maybe I'm more nitpicky or I get frustrated with romance. Um, so I thought it would be a good topic to um, bounce off critiques and ideas, but also do it separately. So I'm not going to be doing a breakdown on these particular books, but it's just going to be something fun to do with my friend. And so I just need a separate little book so I could figure out how I'm going to handle this separate from what I read the rest of the year on my own. And so it's the same format. I did the labels this time. It looks nice, but that took me way too long to do. Uh-oh. My camera's not the best anyways. Um, it looks a lot sleeker, more concise than the other one. It's basically the same thing, just not done in like pen. Lord, can I do this? Do I know how? So I don't have a book photo yet because I don't know what book I'm gonna read. We'll figure out during the show. But basically the same thing. I don't know anything about like if certain romance have like how that's handled if it has to hit certain beats. So I just put the tenets of fiction there, and then I'll look into the nuances of romance later to kind of figure out a breakdown. I'm gonna do chapter notes. Even though this looks nicer, this takes too long. This took too long. Like I cannot be doing this all the time, or maybe because it's the first time. Um, that just sounds like, and also I feel like it's a little bit of a waste of paper. I just happen to have a label maker because I needed it for a project once, but I don't know if I'm going to be doing this all the time. That sounds like I don't know. I'm going to be doing these sprints anyways, so I can continue to do this during my sprinting time, but I'm not sure yet. But yeah, so essentially the same thing as the one, but just labels, just to see what that would look like, what I would like more, and I'm not sure yet. I'll have to think about this. Let me see. Where were we? Yeah, back to the cat conversation. Yeah. It's like I don't even know how it's because one of my cats, Ginger, seems docile. Whenever she acts up or does the things that she does, she's kind of sneaky. Um, I'm like surprised. Actually, okay, I'm gonna go on a little kitty cat rant. When they were kittens, my daughter was out for a trip, so I was home alone with them. Um, I had this little cutout on the wall in the corner lower. It's like a maintenance hole, and I guess it wasn't secure, and so that was the first time the cats escaped, and that was scary because I thought, oh, my daughter is gonna kill me. I've lost the cats, and that's happened twice. That was the first time. The second time also happened when my daughter wasn't here, and it was the same thing. The little maintenance door wasn't secure, and it was because I was like just tearing apart my apartment and like doing a deep clean, and so the cats got out again. It was a nightmare, and by then they were older. This happened like this past summer, and so my cat was older, bigger, more stubborn, and it was such a hassle to get her out this time around. And it's always Ginger. My other cat, you think? I guess I'd have to say the one that has more of like an extroverted personality. You think that one would be doing the rebellious things, but she's not. Oh, good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I hope so. I just want to be something fun. Um, yeah. So we'll see how that goes. So that's like the new thing that's coming up. Kitty cats unite. um, what else is going on? Mm, I do have like one other book club that might happen. I'm not sure yet. I'm still trying to like set up all the everything for the romance, and I'm trying to learn StreamYard, which I'm doing this on, which is very cool. I can see why it's so helpful, but it's like a learning curve. So, or organized. Have I always been organized? You know what? I'm learning now, me and my gray hair, that that's a skill because yes, I have been. I have to be organized to get things done. Uh, I guess I like to think I have a flexible personality, but in my work life or when it comes to like projects, I guess even if it's a hobby, I'm like a little bit I'm more like A type personality. If that makes any sense. Everything else in my life is pure chaos. But when it comes to like my book projects or work, yeah, I don't know. It's just it's something I appreciate about myself and see more as a skill now. I don't think I would have had said that when I was younger, but yeah. Anyways, that's kind of my thing. It just helps me organize my thoughts better, I guess. It keeps my mind at peace. If not, then I just get anxious. That's kind of where I'm at. Should I ask the dreaded question if you have any goals for 2024? I don't really like New Year's resolutions, but this year I am going to try to be a little more goal oriented, I guess. Um, but we'll see. But things that I feel like are practical, I guess. That's what I'm getting at. For instance, doing like um, book clubs and trying to kind of create better like breakdowns for the books that I'm going to cover, which means also I'm going to read less. I think last year I read like 65 books. This year I finished out the year with 69 books. I was trying to get to seven. I was trying to squeeze one more book in, and then I threw in the towel because I just felt burnt out and tired, and I knew I had to just uh, move on from that and start working on organizing for next year. Man, some of these booktubers, they pumped out so much content, and I just saw all the videos that people are putting out, and I can't do it. Like, um, this is like the end of the year, so people, or now the new year, do best of. So, um, and also worst of. I didn't do those just because I'm not a fan of. Um, I'm fine with the best of, but there are so many great books I read this year. I can't narrow it down. I can't. And then just like a handful of books that didn't really like gel with me, but none of them I feel like fall under the worst of. And I didn't really like the language around that. Um, I know that's not the intent, but it just it feels like a little bit demeaning, and like I really revere authors, and um, that's people's like meat and potatoes. So if I could find different language around that, um, that is also a catchy title. I don't want to have like a long title because like that's the point of it, right? So people kind of know right away what you're talking about. Um, and I don't want to say disappointed books because that's not it either. Something like books that didn't gel with me. I don't know. That sounds terrible. But if I could figure out a way around that, I would like that. But again, I don't like to rehash what I did all year, which is the whole point of that. I still haven't decided. I still might talk about my story graph and kind of reflect on the authors, maybe something like that, or like do a comparison between 2022 and 2023. But we'll see. We'll see. I still have to do my wrap up for December. I put out one wrap up, and I still haven't done the second one. So there's a lot to consider on top of doing everything for the new year. Yeah, I usually bite off more than I get you. Yeah, yeah. That's a good point. Well, that's all right. Thank you for going back and watching them. That's so sweet of you. I appreciate it. Um, yeah, I won't say who because I don't want to call anybody out, but I did see that there seemed to be a consensus this particular year with some of the booktubers, um, that the sentiment of being burnt out. And so I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's like uh, the machine of it all, and maybe some people feel pressure to create content. You mean, or put out like a large volume? Um, that could be it. But I definitely have seen people get burnt out, and yeah, that's kind of what I don't want to happen. I don't want it to feel like, I want to take what I do seriously, but I don't want to lose the love for what I'm doing. It's one of those things where it's like a hobby, but I want to take it seriously, but I also don't want it to feel like a chore. Maybe that's like a tall order. But so yeah, that's also why my goal in 2023 that I didn't really do that I'm carrying over this year is just read less, just focus on um, teaching myself uh, to have better literary criticism and talk in more a concise way because I do talk like a scatterbrain and kind of go in a circle sometimes and kind of repeat myself. And I'm only aware of that because I started doing booktube and had to edit my videos. And then, yeah, I realized I really have a bit of a problem with that. So it is a good thing to notice and point out because then I could carry that over to the rest of my life, right? And try to be better at communicating. So, oh, what strikes me about your reviews is that you really think about what you've read. You love learning and it comes across. Oh, thank you. I always I always feel like when I'm doing this, um, I don't know what comes across, right? So I appreciate you saying that. Um, and yeah, I just want to get better at talking concisely. And I do pause a lot because I'm trying to think about the next thing that I'm saying. So like my earlier videos were very choppy because I didn't know what I was doing anyways. Um, or I talk with my hands a lot and I like move around. So I've had to learn to not do that because when I have to edit out all the pauses, it looks like like I'm in a rave. But just like it looks like so ridiculous and it's kind of embarrassing. So I've like slowly gotten better at that part of it. But yeah, so I appreciate it. Thank you for the compliment. Um, and yeah, hopefully get better at that. So it's already whoops, something else gonna do. Yeah, so I think um not be to be repetitive, but like this year, like for each book I'm gonna cover, I'm gonna create like in the short section. I'm just trying to like teach myself how to utilize what's available on YouTube. So the short section, I am gonna have a short where I just like get straight to the point about like synopsis, what works for the book or what doesn't, and keep it really brief and short, and release that as a short. And then my regular videos that I do is it's gonna be one book. I'm not gonna have like a wrap up, I think, and then I'm just gonna I don't know I don't know what to call it. I was gonna call it breakdown. Then I don't know how that's gonna go in the algorithm. So a literary analysis sounds dry. But I was gonna do like the title of the book and then breakdown material or something. And but then if I do that, my whole chat is just gonna be like spoilers. Chats about a book. So maybe I'll just go simply with spoiler review. But it's definitely gonna be different. Like so basically the shorts are gonna be like non-spoiler. And then my actual videos are going to be spoiler. And I might just break it down like chapter by chapter, and then go over what I said, which is theme, plot, setting, character, point of view, and style. Um, yeah, so that's kind of how I want to have short and like full length, but we'll see how it goes. It's 12:43, and I'm still wide awake, but I've also been drinking chaparral that I've been spiking with coffee. um, I think let's do one more sprint. Yeah, that's so true. Yeah. It's hard to stand out and grow a channel and also remain true to your own personality. Yeah, and I could only be me. So yeah, that's why I feel like I'm just gonna keep trying to um, craft my literary. Like, just I just have so much to learn, so I really just focus on the literary criticism part, um, and kind of go from there. Maybe as time goes on, I won't necessarily do wrap ups, but maybe I'll reflect on the different books that I've read and like do like more creative videos. Um, Jen Campbell, um, I really admire her, and she just put out a video recently, and it was something like books that are going to be adapted, or especially around Christmas time. She'll ask her viewers like if there's anybody that they're shopping for and they don't know what kind of book to get, she'll ask like, "Tell me something about this person," and then like she'll create a video of like what this person might like as a gift for that are books, and I really like that part of the creativity where she toggles between like literary criticism and then like something more fun and creative. So I definitely have been paying attention to those kind of things. Yeah, you're ahead of me. Where I am. Oh my goodness. So I'm gonna sprint for one last time. Oh, to the same time, around 20. So if you're still here, great. If not, that's also okay because I know I have to hit the sack with you. And I'll be checking out all your videos. Yep, that's right. Thank you so much. Sweet dreams. It's been so lovely chatting with you. And we'll chat some other time doing another sprint. Have a nice night. I'll be doing a one last sprint for myself. It'll let me. All right, everyone. That was the last sprint. It's 1:25. It went a little bit over. Thank you for joining me. This has been lovely. Um, so I took care of 2 journals, right? I prepped them, got those ready, and I started reading the first book of the year, which is My Name is Romero by David A. Romero. I feel like this is really going to hit me because it's definitely a conversation about identity for the author, being Mexican American and navigating that. Um, I just said something. I should have marked it. I found it to be relatable. And so there's an introduction, and the author says, whether as, oh, he talks about how like people mess up his last name and we'll say Romeo. So whether as Romero or oh, whether as Romeo or Romero, people tended to think I was Italian, telling them that my last name was Spanish, and the reason it was Spanish was because I was Mexican. It didn't settle the issue. With it came more questions. Why did I look Mexican? Why didn't I act Mexican? Why didn't I speak Spanish? These were all questions stemming from preconceived notions of Mexican and Latinx identity. As a young man, I had a hard time understanding these ideas myself, let alone was I ready to answer questions and take on challenges. The questions that I'm asked to this day, and even now, I can't convince some people to overcome their initial confusion and disbelief. This hits close to home because I'm Mexican American, and everything that he brought up are things that I've dealt with my entire life. And yes, I still don't have sometimes the right answers or feel like having those discussions when people prod and ask. And so whenever I come across authors that are also Mexican American and talking about conversations around identity, I don't feel alone so much, but I also feel like sometimes I just don't want to go there. Like it's just like a constant, I don't know, I don't want to say wound, but yeah. So I could already tell I'm gonna really enjoy this. But this is poetry, and I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily meant for adults. Maybe it's meant for middle grade or YA. I'll have to look into it, to kind of see what kind of age range the author was trying to tackle. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna enjoy this. Again, thank you for joining me. Um, Margaret Pinard did mention that she has a playlist regarding StreamYard, so I'm gonna do it after this stream is done, and I'll also go back and mark what sprint happened and when, because it's my first time and I don't know what I'm doing. All right, everyone, happy New Year. Have a good night. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.